Welcome. Last time we talked about all of the portal quarterbacks that Florida State was looking at. If you haven't checked that out, make sure to go back on the X's and Knowles channel and check it out. But now we're going to go through all of the other names that are popping their heads up in the FSU portal conversation. So start us off. Who are we looking for, AB?
Well, I think the first guy that I would like to talk about is Carter Smith, who is currently in Tallahassee on an official visit with the staff, touring the school, and he is a freshman left tackle out of Indiana University. He started every game as a true freshman for Indiana, which is, I mean, maybe it's not shocking for Indiana to have a prospect that would start as a freshman, but the one that would be so highly coveted coming out of the portal. He's got a lot of different schools on him. I think NC State's involved. There's a handful of others. Ole Miss might be involved. There's a handful of other schools that are involved. If Florida State covets him, they think very highly of his game. Do we want to jump into the film now, or want to talk about the other guys first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in the film and kind of keep it segmented.
It's very I find it to be pretty good. He's very technical. He's a better pass rusher or a better pass blocker than a run blocker. This point in his career, I think again he's the left tackle.
So he's should be number 65. Is that
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's holding the edge here. So I think they're in a kind of weird formation, but I think this is him.
So he's got to continue to kind of develop his physical strength. He gets beat with some physical limitations that he possesses as a true freshman against an Ohio State defense that we know is pretty good. Has some grown men on it. So
I mean, this is a block that FSU tackles had kind of missed this year.
Yeah.
It's a different situation because it's not counter,
mm-hmm.
but it's the same idea where no one covered. He's going to work his way back up to this linebacker. Yep. And he doesn't get a great block here, but he does get his hands on him and get him one step away from the play. So now he can't make the play.
We've seen so many times where Florida State's tackles have gotten to second level and they've just been confused as to what to do. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders and kind of understands what his eyes are telling him, what's going on at the next level. Plays well kind of in that space, which is important.
Yeah, and he moves pretty well here.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times counter got blown up because the tackle didn't do their job at the second level.
Right, just didn't make that chip. That's an important chip.
Yep.
And we get a penalty and another penalty. All right.
Indiana's not a great football team.
So he's pass blocking here.
Yep. You see him, he's very patient. He's not in a big rush to get deep, to get depth. He kind of lets it come to him. It's a pretty good player lineup across from him. I believe that's a Sawyer kid. Young man.
Yeah, and you can see he loses with his hands here, but he keeps his balance, and he's still in position to kind of keep him out and give this quarterback room to step up. So that's encouraging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he lunges and allows his hands to get beat, which, I think, again, true freshman. I think this is his second game of his career. That stuff's going to happen. It's going to happen for a young kid.
Yeah. So there's some pieces to work with. I'm kind of getting us to the next drive here. So
yeah. And then the encouraging part for him is, PFF grades. If you look at them, PFF is what it is. But if you look at his grades kind of throughout the season, they don't fall off a whole lot. There's some ebbs and flows to his game in his season, but they don't just tank, which, he didn't seem to hit that freshman wall. If you saw the pictures of him on Holes 24/7 today coming in for his visit, I mean, he looks like a brick shithouse. So,
yeah, and for all that you want to say about the Big Ten, the defenses in the Big Ten this year were pretty legit. So he was facing some really good competition.
There he's climbing again.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much for him to do here. He needs to get ahead on this Mike linebacker.
Yeah, he's just got to get a piece.
And he's there.
He's staying out in front of it, and then he just kind of turns and runs.
So now it's third passing situation. Get to watch him here.
Yep. Yeah, you see how he holds up on 3rd and 11. not bad. Again, he gets beat with some physical limitations. He needs to drop his butt there, and then he gets beat with some power. I think reps. I think developing his lower body will help him a lot in those situations.
Yeah, he's in a great position here. His anchor's just not strong enough against this guy.
And it took him too long to get there too, which is half the problem. He needed to get them hips down. He needed to drop those hips a lot sooner. And unfortunately, he doesn't do it. There, he's high there,
high and reaching a bit.
Yeah. Now the player's underneath of him, and he's able to just kind of walk him back.
Yeah, but this is an encouraging place for a freshman to be. He's anchoring. He's there. It's just he needs to be there half a step faster.
Yeah,
and he honestly just needs to be stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just got to continue to develop his body physically. Which you would think coming in, if they're able to land him, coming in, working out with Josh Storms for the offseason would go a long way in getting his body kind of developed where it needs to be.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to work with here. Here he is kind of comboing.
Yep.
You like that he keeps his eyes up and he keeps working.
Yeah, so he seems to kind of understand. He seems to have good zone eyes, which means his eyes are he sees his double team target, but they're on the next level.
Oh, that was really nice. So watch him here.
Yeah, that's a great drive block.
Yeah, against a good defense, a powerful defensive end too. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what that guy does best. So, I kind of missed him here.
Yeah, this one happens quick.
So here he is, again working up. Yeah, he does seem to have good eyes. I think that's the encouraging bit. It's just some physical things he needs to work through.
Mm-hmm. But foot speed seems to be there. Understanding kind of seems to be there. Like all the intangibles that you're looking for from a tackle seem to be there. I had somebody ask me on the message board, like, is he better than Darius Washington? Is he better than Jeremiah Byers? I kind of think he is.
It's hard to know his physical potential based off all this.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, he is a more refined player than Byers was coming in, especially.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
We just haven't seen him miss any blocks, miss any assignments. He has good eyes. He works up to linebackers. He gets a hand on people even when he doesn't get there.
Here's the situation. He gets kind of overtaken with some power here. Back doesn't help him at all, but
yeah, this is just a weight room thing, and it's why true freshmen very rarely get to play as offensive linemen.
He does a good job with his feet. Watch his feet. He does a good job keeping a good base.
There he goes.
He with a little speed there.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting that.
I think it's okay though, because it's like, yeah, you're out of the play.
Yeah,
he's going through his run block footwork, and that kid just sprints up the field on him.
Yeah, so this is Carter Smith. Maybe we'll get one more drive out of him because I think he's got some good tape and some good talking points for an offensive lineman.
I think so. I think it'd be a nice spot to be in if you could bring him in to go with the Lucas Simmons and a Julian Armella and be able to work him into that lineup. Maybe get Jeremiah Byers in a more natural position at guard, or let Darius Washington move around a little bit more.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that you could slot in right now, and he's going to be someone you can trust out there, and that's important. Especially, you've got someone like Byers who is such a high ceiling kid that having someone like this opposite him or that kind of depending on the day or on the reps, can kind of allow you to be more flexible.
Yeah, the nice part too is you can turn this tape on. There's not a lot of projection here. Like, you can see him against the teams you want to be competing against, and you see how he performs, and you can say, all right, well, this is what it'll look like in our offense.
Yeah, I completely agree. Ohio State's about as good as it comes, and
there's some decent athleticism there, working the old C block on the counter, or sorry, on the end around.
Yeah, here he is, kind of breaking inside.
Faking, we're running, nope, coming back this way, and then he kind of trips.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't get there. Ohio State's just a little bit too fast.
Yeah, it got way too much speed.
Yeah, I mean he moves really well.
Mhm.
He's got good eyes. There's a lot to like here. Here he goes again, kind of run blocking. And he's just setting that.
Yeah, you're just inviting it up the field. There's good, nice job there.
Yeah, he gets on a smaller linebacker,
Yep.
he gets to work up off of a double team, and you can see kind of the power
Mhm.
that he has.
Yeah, he and the tight end doing a nice job comboing together.
Does a good job pinning inside that tackle. So PFF
Nice job on
wasn't
outside
super high
zone.
on this kid.
Good ones.
I haven't checked his PFF grade.
They liked his pass blocking better than his run blocking.
Oh, interesting. Run blocking, he seems fine, but I mean, I think that's a sign of someone whose physical development just
Yeah,
needs to come along.
I
You know?
agree. Yep, I agree. I think he's just coming along.
So that's Carter Smith, offensive line prospect, someone that I think the staff is interested in. He's made it
Yeah.
to campus, I believe.
Yep,
So
he's there. He's there right now. Monday, I believe he arrived Monday. He's going to stay through Tuesday, and then we'll see what his plans are after that. Stay tuned in Knowles 24/7 because Zach, Brendan, and Chris will have the latest for sure. All right, we want to take a look at Kyle Kennard. We'll save Samuel Okunlola for last.
yeah, so clearly defensive end, defensive tackle, the defensive line and offensive line are big kind of areas of emphasis in the portal. That's where you can get guys that can kind of contribute immediately. You know, we've seen it at FSU with Braden Fisk, Keir Thomas, you name it, Jermaine Johnson,
Yeah.
Jared Verse, all these kind of guys that step in and are immediate contributors. So there seem to be two that, have made it to campus for Florida State. And the first one is Kyle Kennard out of Georgia Tech.
Ramblin' Wreck.
So we'll get to see him against. He had a particularly good game against Wake Forest. So
4 sacks, correct?
Something crazy like that. 3 or 4 sacks, 5 pressures.
That's what you're looking for. What is his number?
He's number 8, I believe.
Yeah.
No, he's number 9. Sorry, I
misspoke. Right down here at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Unfortunately, Georgia Tech's numbers are really hard to see, but
yep,
he's number 9. That's him here. Number 8 is up there, so that also doesn't help. But look for the armband. You see immediately his length.
Yeah, lean, long, explosive off the football. There's not a ton of power there, though, which it's okay. I mean, you can win with speed. Win with your speed. Leverage the blocker. Win with your speed. Use that length.
Yeah, and you play 4 down for the explicit purpose of getting to put those smaller, quicker guys on the defensive line, right? As soon as you put 3 down, those guys have to be block eaters. Here he is in the running game.
They're playing him in the boundary quite a bit. So some stuff we've seen Florida State do in the past.
He does an okay job holding up that double team. You can see his length is kind of helping him out here, despite being a little undersized. Just kind of holding these guys up. These linebackers should be able to fill here, and they do. So
he seems like a high effort, high motor kind of guy, which obviously they like.
Yeah. So we'll get to see him kind of in the run game, but passing game is where he's gonna where his bread is buttered. Where you're gonna be trying to find that guy to replace Jared Verse's production on some level.
Yeah, you need to find guys that are going to make up those sacks for you.
Yeah, and on some level, you expect Patrick Payton, all the news that's come out about him in the past couple of weeks. It seems like he's coming back as of right now. He's going to take a step forward. So here he is.
Yeah, get a chance to look at some explosives there. He unfortunately falls.
Yeah, you can see the first step here, but yeah, just kind of falls.
The field gives out on him. I mean, looks like he's trying to go to power and then just kind of falls down.
Yeah, it's probably not a great sample of.
Maybe here's a better angle.
Yeah, you kind of missed the good part, but He's definitely got length. He's got a first step, so
Yeah.
I think this guy's more of a true pass rusher. And the way that they rotate, oh, there he is.
Did you get a hold of that?
Yeah, he did.
There's where that length comes into play.
Right. So here he is off the edge, a speed rush, getting behind the quarterback, knocking the ball out of his hand in the windup.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's what you need.
He
That's
kind of reminds me of Pat Payton, if I'm being completely
yeah.
honest.
I think Pat Payton's a
Ton of length, not a super savvy like pass rusher, but has a ton of length, some good speed.
I think he might be a little bit more robust up top
Yeah.
than Patrick Payton. So he might be someone that gives you a little bit more in the run game. At the expense that Patrick Payton is just a really savvy player.
Right.
But yeah, I think this is, I mean, he just looks really long out there. I mean, he looks like
I agree.
another level of player on this field
Yeah,
right now.
It seems to it kind of stands out.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there we go. A little power. Got the one arm.
Yeah, they called him for a horse collar, I think, but I mean that's
should be a hold.
It might be a hold.
You see, he kind of sets up the speed move, comes back with the power, gets the straight arm in there, walks the tackle back. He's playing with some force right now.
Yeah, this is.
There you go.
Yeah, no, this kid's a ball player. That's enough to show you that this is a kid that you should be excited to bring.
Yeah.
On FSU.
What's the consistency? Is this I beat up on Wake Forest, or
this is a good job by him, just being patient, holding that gap down, keeping contained, kind of two gapping here. That's true. So while this film is kind of playing,
He had 6 sacks total on the season. He was productive. He's a productive player, though. I mean, 32 total tackles.
So he did have 4 of his sacks in this game.
Yeah. He had 2 others, one against North Carolina, one against Virginia. His snap count's not there. I would be curious what his snap count was.
So his snap counts were pretty consistent all season, kind of in the 40 range.
This was his best year as a sack or pass rusher. He had 6 sacks, 2 the last 2 years. 11 tackles for loss. So he's kind of coming into his own as far as production goes. I don't know that they love him. I think they like him as a ball player. I think they're still looking for that right fit, that high, that maybe a little bit higher end guy. Look, I think this is a dude you bring in for your rotation. We're sitting here talking about he's got some Pat Payton to him. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that the unfortunate thing is you're trying to replace Jared Verse. So you're trying to look for, you're big fish hunting. But like if you're looking, if we were in the situation we were last offseason where you had a Jared Verse and you're just looking for pieces that could maybe take that next step, I mean, he's there. He's got the length. He's got the first step. It's just whether or not you've got something better out there.
It's important to note also he's playing on a bad team.
That is true. He's been double teamed a couple of times that we've seen already.
I mean, what's his game look like when he's, got some other really talented guys around him?
Yeah,
I think that length, I think that explosiveness with his first step plays in a better defense. So.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I like the kid. I think he's got the tools, but
I do too.
It's just.
I like to see him with a little more bulk. Maybe put another 10, 15 pounds on
him. So his pressure rate on the season is 9.9%, which is okay. He got a few pressures against, if we look at kind of the bigger name programs, he had a 20% pressure rate against Ole Miss, only a 7% against Miami, but they had a pretty good offensive line, 15% pressure rate against Clemson. So
yeah,
he was able to generate some pressure, whether or not it's on an elite level, whether or not this is a guy that like elevates your offense, your defense. Because I mean, you set a bar. You were
Right. Yeah.
top 10 defense this year. This is a guy. You don't have that much room for defensive ends. This is a guy that has to be there. Man, Georgia Tech's been on the field a long time.
Yeah,
I actually don't think he's on the field right now.
No, I don't think he is either. I think we've gotten I think this was a good sense of who he is, though, that drive alone.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. I think that he's someone. I think we said it, right? He's a guy that has some tools. He has some Pat Payton in him. Can you find a Jared Verse?
Right. Is he an upgrade over Gilbert Edmond and Byron Turner? And those are the questions you're asking right now more than anything, because those are the guys that you're trying to find a piece to slot in over. And I think the answer is probably emphatically yes to both of those. And then you start talking about, okay, is he willing to come in and be a rotational piece? You're having those talks with him. Are you, does he want to be a guaranteed starter? Does he want to come in and make his hay as a pass rusher and be a rotational guy? We know how much they rotate in this defense, trying to keep guys fresh. And you go big game hunting if there's a big game piece that becomes available later down the road. I'm curious to see if they stick with how they value him. And obviously, not to plug Noles 24/7 again, but those guys they're gonna give you those answers. They're gonna talk to the staff. They're gonna get those answers from them and present that kind of information when the time comes. So I would say again, pay attention to what Chris and Brendan and Zach, what they kind of are telling you about Kyle Kennard, because he just left. He left Sunday, I believe it was. Yeah, I think there was rumors he was going to take another visit. I don't know. I don't know where to, but I think there was some talk about him taking another visit. But I think he's a guy that probably he and Samuel Okunlola we're going to watch next. I mean, those are the two ends right now that probably are competing for a spot in your class.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think let's go ahead and take a look at what Samuel Okunlola would potentially provide for FSU. So I'm kind of pulling up his game here.
I need some easier last names.
Nah, you get used to it. So he's number 8, defensive lineman. He had a pretty good game against Pittsburgh, which is why we brought this one up.
Against Louisville.
Against Louisville. He is on Pittsburgh, so that would not make much sense. He had 41 snaps.
This Louisville offense isn't any good, so.
Yeah, that's what we've learned. All right. So he's number 8.
I do not believe he's in right now.
Yeah, so I don't think he's in this drive.
That's tough. He rotates with them. I mean, he's not a starter per se.
Yeah, he has a higher pressure rate than
Canard
that we just saw. He's up closer to 10, just over 10%, which is marginally higher.
I would say he plays in a better defense also, though, which helps.
Let's see. I think that's him at the top of the screen.
Top of the screen, yeah.
Yeah, number 8.
So you see a little more power out of him. Looks like he's going to maybe hold up against the run a little bit better. Gives a nice pop to the I believe it's up to the left tackle as an edge setter here. I mean, that's boom. That's a way to put him on his heels.
All right, top of the screen here.
Get off's good. And he kind of gets engulfed.
Yeah, again, kind of standing up that tackle.
Yeah. But balls away from him, play action.
Yeah. 3rd and 3.
Not a whole lot there. Looks like he tries to work an inside move and just kind of gets
just stoned. But it's a quick outlet pass on a 3rd and 3.
Yeah. Not expecting a lot out of him.
So let's see. His first step isn't quite as explosive as what we're seeing out of Canard.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
But he does have good pop in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the balance you're trying to make is where does he fit in? Are you looking for someone who can do this against the run, right?
Does a nice job here.
Right. Sets the edge,
Yeah.
turns this inside
Yep.
where he's got help.
Doesn't get himself run to the sideline, which is important.
And does a good job working back. He almost makes
Yeah.
this tackle.
Yeah. That's a nice play by him. He gets his handle and he slows this thing down.
Yeah. So I think that
He seems like he's got a little more of that power player to him than Canard was a little more speed.
yeah, here he is playing kind of, it's 3rd and 5, so they've got 3 down linemen. So he's kind of playing inside a little bit. They're bringing the house.
Oh, hello.
In retrospect, Louisville's offense.
So Canard's a junior, I believe. Okunlola or Lola is
But this is
only
this
a
is the
redshirt
first
sophomore.
redshirt sophomore, so he's got a couple more
I
years.
think I'm looking. I'm double checking here.
And it's wet.
No, he was
grass.
no, that can't be right. Was he a freshman this year? Yeah, he was a freshman this year. So there's physical growth and upside still in his game, which is important.
Right. But I mean, I like where he is physically. It's whether or not you can get that explosiveness, right? Is that something that
I think what's important is you don't know. It's hard to tell with his frame here. What else he can put on, but he's showing you to be a power player, which is okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be a guy that puts his hand in the dirt, runs a 4.4. If he can win with that power, you've got Pat Payton as your speed guy, and you're developing other guys. Byron Turner is a speed guy who came along this year. You're developing some of those guys. You need kind of that power to offset and have those different types of players to throw it at an offense. It's almost encouraging. Yeah, but what my point was going to be was, when you're talking about portal takes, do you take a freshman who, his pressure rates look good? There's a lot of things there that you like. Do you take a freshman or you take the junior, the guy that's going to be a senior, maybe a little more mature, a little more physically mature, and do you roll with him? Kind of when you're looking at a Canard versus a Okunlola. What are your decisions? What are your decisions there when you're breaking down those two players?
Yeah, are you looking for a pass rusher that you can rotate in on passing downs to kind of
Right.
be that guy, that Jared Verse, and hope that you can put a little bit of weight on Turner and Edmond and kind of make
Right.
them all around defensive ends?
Yeah.
Are you looking for a guy that complements what you already have out there?
Well, it's short term, long term. I mean, are you looking to build your defense around this guy? Maybe not build your defense, but look at him being a staple for your defense over the next 2 years or whatever.
And that's a argument to be had because I mean defensive end recruiting just hasn't been there. So getting a guy that you feel like you can
nice job taking that on.
grow with, where I think Canard might be the better player day one. This is a guy that, yeah, you're totally right. This is someone that can kind of supplement the where you haven't been able to get those recruits because he's a good player and he put up decent numbers being in a rotational role in the ACC, and that's what you're going to be asking of him next year.
Right? Yeah. He doesn't look like a natural pass rusher. Like he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing out there.
I just want to say that this is the ACC football's official released thing that they had the little TV guide pop up for half a second on their own YouTube video.
It is the ACC.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, I think he's out again.
He's out again. Yeah.
So
maybe.
Seems like a lot of his production probably came in the second half. So maybe I'm gonna
jump ahead there. So I mean, back to that talking point though, I think it's important, when they're. Oh, here we go.
I skipped ahead pretty fast. Here he is at the top of the screen. I mean,
again. I mean, you see, he has some power to him. It's still kind of one of those things that's being developed, right? I mean, we talked about it with Carter Smith as an offensive tackle. You're going to talk about it with this young man too. I mean, they're freshmen. Their bodies are not developed the way that a lot of these older guys are.
Yeah. And the question is always like, so the Florida State's got a thing of you put on strength, that strength turns to power, that power turns to speed.
Right.
So is this someone who you feel like you can develop that speed? I mean, speed is notoriously difficult to develop.
There he is it like a joker backer there.
Yeah, that was interesting. So he was kind of playing a linebacker here.
And it's clear his job's to go take on this guard. So they're trying to set up a blitz here. They're attacking the pressure, or they're attacking the pass protection with a little delayed stunt. He's just occupying.
Yeah. So, I don't think this is a guy that day one's going to give you the pass rush numbers, but here he is out again. Oh, no, that might be him. Cleaning up the play. Yeah, I think they might have him. It's kind of hard.
Is he doing the same thing again? Yeah. Works a little loop there. Yep.
No, that's not him. It's all right.
Yeah. Tough to tell. A lot of single digits on that Pitt defensive line. All right, Kev, let's call it here.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to find film of Okunlola. His numbers numbers pan out, but Pitt rotated defensive line a lot.
Yep.
I think we've kind of said a lot about it. There's several other defensive ends that I think they might kind of parse through. But these are guys that are on campus, so these are guys that clearly there seems to be mutual interest of. And I think there's positives of both. So with all three, kind of give me your summarized thoughts. Are these guys that FSU fans should be excited if they're signed, or who should we be cheering for here?
I think Carter Smith's the one that the one definite that I would say, I want him. I want him in this class. I think that's the type of player they need to start getting in here on the offensive line. There's been a lot of projects, a lot of guys you're hoping to develop over time. You saw him go in the Big Ten and start as a true freshman and put up good reps. Not always great, but again, some of that's due to physical immaturity. I mean, that stuff's going to develop over time. He's going to grow into his body. He's going to find that strength and that power and just become kind of a grown man every time as he continues to, age. So that's the one that I think people should be rooting for. I've seen some wild takes that, you don't want a technical player. I want technical players. I want guys that understand where to be, how to do it. Those are valuable assets. So he's the one that I think I would kind of plant my flag for. And then after that, I mean, the two ends, I like them. I don't love them. I think they're kind of interchangeable. I would always tend to go with the younger guy. So Samuel, I would tend to go with him just because you've got years of service there. He's a true freshman in his past season. You've got him for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever after this, to kind of get him in your program. He's not unlike Pat Payton either in some regards. I don't think he has the length that Pat has, but I don't think he's a super, super duper like first round draft pick type. No, but I think he's solid. I think he's a really solid end for your program. And I mean, those guys got value, right? Especially if you're going to keep him for 3 years or whatever. You're not fighting the portal for him. You're not doing all that nonsense. You've got him in there, and you can keep him in there in your program. So while Canard maybe has a little more juice to him as a pass rusher, I think Okunlola, I like that you've got a little more control long term with him. I think he's a better two-way kind of player as a run stopper and developing his pass rush game. And who the hell knows? He's got a really, really, really talented 5-star offensive tackle brother down in Miami. Maybe he wants to come play with him in Tallahassee. So just crazier things have happened in this portal era. So those are kind of my two. And then but I don't think Canard would be a bad take. I wouldn't be opposed to having him. I wouldn't be opposed to taking both of them.
Yeah, I think to me it all just there's some depends. I'm with you on Carter Smith. I think that the offensive line is filled with these kind of projects, um, guys like Byers who could be great,
Yeah.
guys like Armello who really haven't got that many snaps, but have a lot of potential. Guys like Lucas Simmons, who again is another tackle body that you don't know if you're going to get out of him what you can. It's nice to have someone that is consistent, is reliable, is there. You're losing Bless Harris, and so this guy slots in as a Bless Harris type. He's someone who's going to give you consistent snaps day one, and maybe he's someone who can develop further. The defensive end thing is a different question. If there's some younger guys that you feel like you can bring in and develop and you like more than Okunlola, then it might make sense to just get a gap guy that immediately improves that room day one. But if you look at your board, you look at the rest of the transfer portal and you're like, well, we need someone that can kind of give us reliable snaps for the next years to come, then Okunlola makes a lot of sense. And I think he's a good player. It's just that the first step is the real sticking point for me. That's something that you don't see get developed often.
Right.
I think that, like kids are either explosive or they're not. I think you can improve that. Definitely. But that's something that's a little bit harder to project. I think I trust this staff's evaluation. If they say this is someone that we think can project to be someone that's going to give us that pass rush in the future, then he's someone that I think is worth investing time into. If not, I'm not opposed to you just taking a flyer on a kid that I think is does legitimately improve the defensive end room when he steps in a Luke Canard. So
yeah, Kyle Kennard.
Sorry.
Okay, with a lot of names getting thrown around here.
Yeah.
In the end, though, they're kind of playing a game of musical chairs here. There's a lot of names out there. They're trying to find the ones that fit them best. I think that they could land any of them if they really wanted to, outside of a handful, one or two guys that maybe, have relationships elsewhere or whatever. I think that they're being smart, not rushing in and just taking a guy and filling a number. I think they're being very smart to be patient, let it develop, let it continue to kind of come to you. It seems like they're playing from a position of power where they can be patient and they can kind of dictate terms, which is important. No need to just rush in to take a guy because, fanboy 123 on Twitter is raging because they haven't gotten that's me, by the way. It's raging because they haven't gotten a commit in however long. But staying patient, staying true to your evaluations, and finding the guys that they value for their defense will ultimately pay off. So,
yeah, I don't think either one of these guys are guys you're going to look back on and be like, well, we are going to have 3 wins off our win prediction because we didn't get this guy.
Right.
So maybe you take the risk and you find something better. I mean, I think they're good players, but time will tell. Well, thank you for joining us. AB's got some announcements on who you should be following. If you want to fill us in there.
Yeah. Obviously be sure that you are following the Noles 24/7 and X's and Noles YouTube channels. Be sure to be subscribed, like this video. I think we had almost 10,000 people watch the quarterback one. 11,000. Let's try to get it. Let's try to get this one to 10,000. Let's try to get 1,000 likes. That would be greatly appreciated. Just get in the comment section too, because that's going to help the algorithm get these videos out to more Florida State fans and more college football fans in general, so that they can appreciate and enjoy this content. Then get on Noles 24/7. I think they're still working a 60% promo, but I could be wrong about that. But either way, just get your butts on there. Zach and Brendan and Chris, they cover the portal better than anybody. A lot of people talk about it. Those guys just go out and do it. And I know for me, I was a fan long before I was doing videos. I always appreciated the content that they were able to put out and the information and how up to date it was. And then the last one, the Battle's End. If you've been living with your head under a rock, they recently had a anonymous donor step up with a $500,000 donation, match donation. So they are matching up to $500,000 worth of donations, merchandise purchases, one-time donations, new memberships. So I would highly encourage any and all of you. We've got over 14,000 people subscribed to the X's and O's YouTube channel. They recently eclipsed 4,700 or 4,600 members yesterday. I can't say it enough. Please, if you can, go become a member of the Battle's End. It is only going to help this football team thrive more and more as we continue to kind of recover from the snub and the screw job that was last Sunday. So I encourage you, get over to thebattlesend.com, get subscribed or get signed up as a member, whatever you can do, whatever level. There's all types of levels. There's all types of nice rewards. I've been talking with a couple of people from the Battle's End about maybe having some people come on here with us for some film review if you are kind enough to donate up to a certain level. So we'll see how that all plays out over time. But again, thebattlesend.com, get over there. They're trying to get to 5,500 people before Christmas. Let's get them there, folks. All right.
If you like the luxury of looking at these players that put up 5+ sacks in a Power 5 conference and going, well, which one do we want? Give to the Power 5. This is a luxury that's bought with the generous giving of the Battle's End. So be a part of that. And thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Go Noles.
Boom.